All right, well, guys, we're on to this third part, and still knee deep in some bloodshed from Game of Thrones. And,
Yes.
Now let's kind of going over some of our favorite deaths so far. Like what let's get a little violent with it. I mean, we were talking about some fun things so far, but like part of the joy of Game of Thrones is like
The death.
just die. Like it's my favorite person and dead. Yeah. So like who? Okay, before we even get into favorite deaths, who's definitely dying this year? This season.
Everyone?
Everyone. You think everyone, huh?
Just about.
I think there'll be very few actual characters. I think we'll probably see like the ending shot with Jon Snow, standing there with his baby, and the sun rises, and not much else.
The happy ending. Huh? The happy ending.
With
the
everybody
happiest
else
ending.
dead.
Yeah. I mean, how happy can you be when the majority of the world is gone? It's just you.
Right.
I mean, like for example,
I don't know. I feel pretty good about that.
Thanos was pretty happy.
Well, yeah, unless you're Thanos, yeah.
You get on 85 South on a Monday morning, you feel pretty good about that ending.
Yeah. So
I mean, everybody has to go. This is great.
Oh man.
you know the thing with this season, I think that we're definitely going to see because there's not much left, so they have to tie certain people up.
Yeah.
The death I don't want to see. I can tell you the one I don't want to see.
Who?
There's only one I don't want to see.
I've got one that I for sure don't.
All right,
wanna
who do you not want?
Wait,
to
you-
Is
who
it
do you
because
not
it's a
wanna see
fantasy to keep them alive? Because
No.
No, who is it? Come on, give us.
Actually,
some-
the reason I'm hesitating is I cannot. Wow, the little person I don't want to say.
Arya.
No.
I just want to keep giving you shit on that.
Tyrion Lannister. You don't want to see Tyrion
I don't
Lannister.
want, I don't know why his name just slipped my mind, but
That's
I do
all right.
not want to see him go, man. I want to see him. I want to see him ride out with some woman.
Yeah.
who makes babies
He's
or
such a
something.
smart guy.
Yeah.
And he's weaved his way in and out of everything at the perfect time. You just want to see that. You just want to keep seeing it going.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they did a spinoff with just him. If he had his own spinoff, I wouldn't even mind. I would watch it.
See,
I like his character.
Tyrion's world.
I think Tyrion's gone.
They do.
Yeah, I'm pretty
think-
sure.
I also think, going back to the best theories, I think Tyrion is a Targaryen as well.
Okay.
Across the board.
Okay.
Across the board.
All right.
The only reason I say that is because it was brought up several times in the show as well as in the books that, like, Aegon, the Mad King, loved being that one that in the marriages would, either, consummate the marriage or he would take his fun with marriages. Like, and especially... what's his name? The Hand of the King's wife, which was Tyrion's mom. So, Miss Lannister has a baby and like he even said in the show, like, you're no son of mine, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a foreshadowing to me in an episode where like lineage, or in a show where lineage is so important, but like this man that is known for guarding his family more than anything else, and the moment that he's about to die is, you're no son of mine. Like, this, he is definitely a Targaryen.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna die.
Okay.
The one person I want to stay alive more than anybody else, I don't care if everybody else dies in the entire show, everybody, including Jon Snow, everybody, keep Arya alive. I love Arya. She is.
I love her too.
Arya is my favorite.
Okay.
I think she just disappears, and that's kind of the sad thing is that she just.
But that fits in with like her ties to the direwolf. Is that the direwolf just vanishes
Yep.
Yeah.
out into the wilderness.
Yep.
Arya's gonna go the same way. I'll give you my alleged ending. I think that once it comes out, Jon Snow's ties to the Targaryens, his honor will not allow him to stay married and be with Dany Targaryen. There's no way that works.
Agreed.
So I think she ends up with Gendry because he's a Baratheon. Correct me if I'm wrong on this.
You're right. Keep rolling.
So
Keep it
far,
rolling.
All right.
going.
And so,
Digging in.
and so the initial revolt, Robert's revolt, was against the Targaryens.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that we have to fix it is bring those two back together, and it's Dany's nightmare scenario because she wants to break the wheel, and instead it's a full part of the wheel. Yeah. He's malleable, somebody that she could control. He doesn't want the throne. He doesn't want nobility.
Yeah.
And Jon Snow will be stuck up in Winterfell. There's no need for a Night's Watch now because the
Yeah.
wall's down. Wow. So I think he's going to have to sit in Winterfell, pining away for the woman he loves, who's down in King's Landing with Gendry, and Gendry's stuck with a kid that's not his, right? And they have to rebuild the kingdom right back where we started with the Baratheons and the Targaryens. Is there a more Game of Thrones ending than the status quo?
Right.
Oh man.
And my favorite death was the death of the slave masters. When when they come rolling up, when they're in their ships and everything, and they're having that revolt, and the dragons just go nuke on all of them. To me, that was like the most stone cold ending, where she's just standing there and you see the dragons flying behind, napalming it all. That to me is my favorite death.
Okay. See, the only problem I have with that is I don't think there's going to be a Winterfell. I think that thing is going to get mulled over faster than anything else. And I think where it's going to get pinched is at the Veiled and with right there where the Fries were at the in River.
At the Twins. You think they get held at the Twins?
I think they get held at the Twins. Because like think about all the horrible shit that has gone on at the Twins.
Right. But
across from the beginning to the end, like that's where the Targaryen and Baratheon fought, and that's what makes me think that, like, you're right. It's going to be tied back in through those two somehow. Yeah, but it's probably going to be where they killed each other.
Well, humanity's going to screw it up. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, there's your big spoiler alert. Right. Congratulations, humanity's going to screw it up. I just
that's never happened before.
Never happened before in life.
That's a brand new thing. So.
But I think you're right that they'll hold them, and it's going to look like the tide's turning at the Twins, and then that's when the Iron Banks funds come through, and Cersei's plan, which because there's no text messaging, there's no hey let me DM these people and cancel that backstabbing event that we were going to have happen. Yep. So when all of them come rolling in, it's going to cause mass chaos, and the Night King, I think, pushes all the way down to King's Landing. Yeah. And it's going to be a great siege at King's Landing, which will be absolutely amazing.
Yep. Because I'm definitely interested to see, like, you can't foreshadow Dany walking through a snowy king room without that happening.
No.
And here's the thing. I want to see Cersei die. I do.
You're right. She just meant... I already know what's coming. Go ahead.
What? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I want to see Cersei die. The only thing is that how she dies is, to me, the thing. It has to be some type of like really painful thing for all the dirt she's done. If she dies quick, it would just be useless.
But here's the thing. Everyone hates Cersei. I get it. But it's her kids have been mowed down one after the, not all together, where it was like some event she could get over. It's like one happens, and then there's time. Yeah. Okay, it sucked, but we're gonna get through it. Yeah. And then your sweet innocent child gets 86 by the vipers. Yeah. The sand snakes, and then you have the sweet innocent son, right? Mm-hmm. Nope, he's gone too. Yeah. She's broken. She's fundamentally broken. And you have to be a mad woman to try to protect your children on the throne, because everyone's coming after them. All the knives, when you're in charge, all the knives are coming for you. Right. Every plot, every twisted machination is either to control your children or to kill your children and usurp them. Yep. She has to be psycho. Yeah. Because it takes a psycho to protect what is most precious.
It's psycho to live through that shit.
Yeah. And so...
Yeah, there's some severe trauma there.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, everyone goes after Cersei. Just watch out for my lady, because there's a reason why she is the way she is.
I don't hate or dislike her character. I actually like her a lot on the show. It's just that with the way that everything is moving, she almost has to go.
Yeah. No,
she almost has to go. I actually like and I understand her art and love it.
I mean, I took quite pleasure in watching her walk that walk. You know what I'm talking about? All the way down. Oh, yeah. Getting lettuce thrown at her face. Here's spit on. Yeah. I mean, like, that was like, my goodness! Not only are you beautiful naked, but you're beautiful getting spit on.
Sadly, that's not her. Actually, she had a body double.
I mean,
but yeah, you are right. Like, that really was like a sign of relief, like, because she wasn't killed. Like somebody could have easily just thrown a spear, chucked it from a dragon. Like, what I mean? Like, somebody could have easily done it in that situation. Yeah, she had the mountain right there, but like, you can't tell me some peon isn't going to take his own life to end that woman's reign. Yeah. Right. Like, so like, I thought it was a very beautiful sequence of it's coming. Just like the whatchamacallit, the Clegane Bowl has been previewed over and over.
Right.
And so I think that hers is going to be a very public death. I feel like it's going to be, something that is shown and we digest it. It's not gonna be up in flames because the Colosseum blew or whatever. It's gonna be a moment where we all revel in the fact that this woman is dead.
Yeah.
But here's going back to the theories, and this will be my favorite death if it happens. Jaime Lannister puts a sword through her back. Talk about filling circles. Talk about filling circles.
That'll happen.
She betrays him.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, he has to kill the Mad Queen, just like he killed the Mad King. But even worse than being his dad, it's
and it's the lady he loves. Yeah. It's the lady he loves, not just his sister.
Not his dad, but
yeah. Now,
hold on.
Now, Mateo, your favorite death. I haven't heard your favorite death yet.
Who you got?
My favorite death.
Come up to the mic.
My favorite death is Lannister's.
Just
because he was the king, and he was number one. I hated him ever since the Golden Child.
Yeah.
Do you remember? do you remember that? He was Sodom Noomsi.
Brother Noopsy.
He was Sodom Noomsi in the Golden Child, and I never forgot about that because I grew up with that movie. But at the same time, just the fact that he was just
that's a good recall on that one.
I was not ready for that.
He was just a straight up asshole dictator. So dictator. He was just up front with everything, and it was his way or no way, and he loved his daughter and he loved his son, and if he wasn't gonna get what he wanted, that he was gonna die with it. So
Charles Dance, the actor that plays him, it was absolutely masterful, and just projecting that
he knows how to be an asshole.
I'm above all of you. I'm smarter than all of you. Watch me play the game. And when Arya was undercover and he detected the little things that she said where it showed that she was highborn, he knew that he could easily haul her out, kill her, no problem. But he's smart enough to know that this is some highborn's child and it could be valuable later on. So feed her, take care of her, because later on it could help me out. Now, it didn't pay off for him, obviously, but the idea was there.
Oh, were you saying that your favorite death was the Targaryen or the Mad King or Lannister?
Lannister.
Oh, okay, Tyrion Lannister. Okay, or not Tyrion, Tywin Lannister. Okay, gotcha. My bad. I was thinking Mad King. I was like, because they both have son and daughter, and I was like, yeah, you're right, kill them both.
And my favorite death though was Littlefinger.
Yeah,
he had it coming.
He had it coming, and you couldn't wait for that moment.
That setup,
like,
though.
Oh my!
And the setup, though, the way it happened,
was beautiful.
Yeah.
Everybody turns and looks at him. Like, in that moment, the biggest grin on my face was like,
and it was like he was standing there, and he's like, "Wait, I don't have anything left. I don't have anything left to trade. I have nothing left to do. But stand here and die." Do you know how painful that must have been for him? That he saw it coming. He knew it was coming. There was nothing he could do. He was always used to being able to pull out at the last minute. Hey, I got this. I got that. At that moment, it's like, this is it. You're done.
Being a rat, like you knew it was coming.
When Bran looked at him and said, "Chaos is a ladder." Then you knew it was like, it's a wrap. It's done. It's done.
Yeah. That's my favorite.
You have been discovered.
Yeah. Because and that's when I think. That's when he really knew he was done, because that was a conversation that there were only two participants in. It was in the throne room, right? And only two participants. And for somebody who wasn't even there to say chaos is a ladder, then he finally realized, I'm pretty much done for you. Now I'm just going to start begging.
That grin, man. I remember just being like, literally, I was like cheering. I was like, this is it. Like in front of all my friends watching it. I was like, ah. I do think, though, that exact scene is why, for me, and I had said I hope this happens, I still think even just away from my hope, I still think Arya lives, because the dagger is Valyrian steel. If there's anybody that needs a quick getaway and can do it and then disguise himself, or even be able to know how to avoid, she's trained for that.
So, because she can get in and out almost anywhere.
Well, even though like the dead people. Because what were they doing? Like they tried to run around the dead people at one time and act dead, right? Like what did that happen in there?
No. You had the closest you had anyone come to the White Walkers and live was when Sam when Sam was hiding behind the rock.
That's what it was.
And that one White Walker came up looking right at him and just said, yep, I'm going to keep trucking. Yeah. Which is one of the mysteries is that why was he not immediately attacked? Oh, yeah. And that's when you really saw that there was an intelligence. It's not like The Walking Dead where they're almost like an act of nature, where it's almost like a tidal wave. Like they're you can't really control them. You can just sort of like, it's almost like a flood or a tidal wave or whatever. But with the White Walkers in Game of Thrones, there's an intelligence there. Yeah. At least with, with the true White Walkers. But to me, how
those
far
are the others is what they're called.
Yeah, but how far has this show come? Where today we're talking about favorite deaths, and Joffrey doesn't get mentioned once.
Thank God.
How far has this show come?
You know something?
We don't even mention Joffrey.
It wasn't satisfying. One, it wasn't satisfying. One, and the other thing, no, not at all. And the other thing with Joffrey was that he didn't have anywhere else to go. There was nothing left for his character. With Little, he could have kept going. There was more he could have done. But it was like he reached the end of his rope right then, and it wasn't at the time that you expected it. I expected him to make it to the end of the show. I never thought he would leave before because he was such a shyster. I thought he'd be able to be like, wait a minute, I'm going to make a deal, and I'm going to be able to get to the next level or go over here and be all right. And that's why. Joffrey, I knew it had to happen. It was just like, okay, is he going, oh, dang, he didn't die this episode. He'll die the next one for sure. Yeah. Every episode, I was waiting for him to die. So there was no big satisfaction with Finger. That was a huge thing because of the way he did, like you said, the fact that when chaos is a ladder, that's iconic. It's just iconic. When that was said, it was like, man. When Jeffrey died, I was like, yeah, well, here we go.
To me, he was, because he had become the focal point of so much rage, like viewer rage, that to me, when it happened, because it's not even the way that I wanted him to die. Like I wanted somebody like almost,
crush his eyeballs.
Yeah, crush his eyeballs. But the fact that it was poison and underhanded. To me it was maybe a lackluster death from that standpoint, but it was so refreshing.
Yeah, honestly, not just that. It was mammy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will say that I really, really did like the necklace and the subtleties that led up to it. For sure. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Like, without a doubt. And I love that old Queen of Thorns was like, it was me. Like, that was great.
Tell her it was me. It was like,
that is one of the greatest moments in television history. Period.
And I tell you, it was me. More on that than the death.
How many memes? How many times have you seen people reference that? That's like a point of reference that no matter who you say it to, they understand. Like, tell her it was me. Like, like that. So
speaking of, we're kind of already on this subject a little bit. The character arcs. Like we've talked about Arya's, we've talked about Tywin's, and like him being able to master manipulate all that from the side. What about Jon Snow? Like, what about some of these other folks that are still like running around? How do y'all feel about Sansa? Like, who to y'all can go immediately? Like a first episode walking in, dragon eats her head. Like who could that be for y'all that's still alive?
Ooh.
Sansa it is for me. I do not like Sansa.
But that's why I think she's going to make it. I think that's why she's going to make it. Yeah. To me, she has her character arc is so amazing because she was the one who wanted to be the pretty princess. Yeah. That's all she wanted to be was some highborn's queen, birth royal babies, have the clothes and the jewels and everything. And now she finally understands in Westeros, the cost of that.
Yeah.
And the fact that, to be a pretty princess in Westeros means you do not have, there's no control over your own agency. You have none of it. Somebody else controls you.
Yeah.
Top to bottom, they own you. And when she was passed around, essentially.
Yeah.
I think where she is now, it is absolutely like top to bottom. The way she has played that character has been amazing.
Yeah.
And do I think that she's also a character who could go episode 1? Maybe.
Yeah.
But I also think she could be there at the end. But by far, she's my favorite. Even though it's not showy because it's not typically the character I would gravitate toward.
Yeah.
That when she watched the dogs go ham on her ex-husband, who is probably one of the most evil characters in the history of television.
That's another. I mean, there's so many great deaths. Like,
See, I would definitely agree. I don't think that it may just be Sophie Turner. That may just be me. Like, I don't know if I like her as much, because I do like Sansa. I really like the fact that she was able to get past, like, she didn't just fold. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, no woman that goes through anything that she did would ever just, would ever be wrong of folding for, like, you've gone through some crazy shit, like, across the board. But to me, I don't know. I feel like she's still immature to the point where, like, her disconcerns, I guess, with like Jon and the whole Targaryen thing. Like, at this point, like, you are one of the people that really understands the Game of Thrones. So, like,
she does now.
That's gonna throw you off.
You could see that on her face now. You could see on her face that she understands that her childish intent of being the pretty princess.
Yeah.
And when she sees like Brienne of Tarth and how it's a strong woman who has complete control over her own life and where she goes and what she does and who she kills, and she can take on any man and live. I think when she sees that sort of role model, and then also sees, whether it's a good role model or a bad role model, Cersei Lannister, and how she survives while wearing the dress and the jewels.
Yeah.
I think that the way that you see Sophie Turner, her face, it's almost ice cold now. Like, there's very little emotion. There's very little like, now it's like, like, she's calculating now. Now the gears are turning, and she's using something different than any other character on the board.
Yeah.
So if you think of it from a chess sense, now she can make any move she wants.
I get that.
Okay.
I get that.
Gotta make sure of these
in
things.
5.
Scene. Audio loft.
Audio loft. Hold on. Give me the card. Give me the card. We're gonna cut a spot right here, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm holding in my hand right now, it's a card for audio loft.
You may not be in frame.
So. There we go. Now we're in frame. Now I know this is, you're not looking at that. You're like, what is that? It's a tiny little rectangle. Let me go ahead and tell you, if you want to get top flight audio any production you have, okay, is if the checks are clearing, he's showing up. All right, you call Skip at 678-462-9465. 678-462-9465, or you can hit him up at skiplap, LAP, at yahoo.com. That is Audio Loft for all your audio needs. Sponsor of the show.
Audio Loft Skip on Insta.
There you go. And Audio Loft Skip on Insta.
And that's on Yahoo, so you don't have to worry about the government tracking you. So.
Yeah. Don't play these games. You can have a fantastic production. It can look like $1 million, but if you can't hear what's going on, then you're back in the early 1900s with silent films. You don't want that. We're not trying to do that throwback. Okay? Throwbacks are good, not when it comes to no audio on your set, or when you're talking and you have 16 decibels of echo. Nobody wants that.
Skip also provides top flight security.
Yeah.
Top flight security.
Provided by Ice Cube and Mike Epps.
That's right. Okay. That's how you cut a commercial, my friends. Let's go.
Done, and done. All right, yeah. So, I think we are going to go ahead and end this last little segment back into just the bigger world of comics and content. So, just to end on Game of Thrones, like, we've got like a month ahead. So, like, we'll go and do a full episode and break it down. I'm glad though that like there's enough conversation. I even saw on some of the Instagram feeds where people are like James Stark, and stuff like that. So we'll definitely break that down a little bit more. Let's go ahead and get back into Marvel vs. DC. I know we had talked about Warner Brothers being, the problem with DC, and they're the bad guys at this moment. Just to kind of end where we are, though, let's go and talk about a little bit further about some of our favorite heroes from content, whether they be in Marvel, whether they be in DC, whether they be Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Let's just talk about that and why. Because, and I'll start off. I know I had said earlier that one of my favorite comic series is actually a DC comic, which is The Watchmen. Zack Snyder didn't get a lot of love on that movie. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought that the storytelling was amazing.
I don't understand why it doesn't, from comic book fans.
Yeah.
Because there were things that he left out that should have been left out. The whole story arc about the ship and the squid definitely would have never made sense. I don't care how they would have made sense.
Never.
That would have been terrible.
Yeah.
So the things that were left out, even the kid and the, I mean, they showed them really briefly. They showed them kind of there.
Yeah.
But I didn't need that. There was nothing about that even reading the book, it didn't move the story to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they were there and I understand why they were narrating. But as far as the movie, we had narration happening as the movie was happening. We didn't need that.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
Watchmen for me is definitely, to me, it's Watchmen, Dark Knight, like neck and neck. Those are the two best pieces of literature that you can read in comic book.
Yeah.
Now, which one is better? That's an argument for a different day.
Yeah.
But they're like, to me, right there neck and neck. But considering the same person is the writer, so you know.
Well, and I think also too, like that goes back to just being about what the comics actually are, and like this is a huge debate with Steven Spielberg right now. I don't know if y'all have seen the posts and stuff, but where he's like cinema versus long format content. Like there's vast differences, and so for what they did with Watchmen for cinema purposes was flawless. I really enjoyed it. The moment, like when people were like, "Oh, why do you like comic books so much?" But like that moment when Dr. Manhattan is standing there on Mars and it kicks to him about like the miracle that is the human experience. Like your dad and your mom did not. This was never supposed to happen, and then against all the odds of that, those two people ever meeting like are astronomical. But then for you to become the person that you are out of what happened between your parents, and all that, like that miracle that is the human experience, that to me spoke louder than any other comic, any other part of anything. It was a revolution to me where I was like, even on the films, like, because I read the comics, but then to like watch the movie and to feel that because of the scoring, the cinematography going into that shot of them just then standing there, just them two on Earth. Then all of a sudden, you know, all along the Watchtower comes on. And there's a big smiley face on Mars. Like
the way that they did,
that to me was cinema. Like that's it.
Zack Snyder gets so much grief, and sometimes justifiably so.
Yeah.
But the way that he developed the comedian and the way he developed Sally Jupiter, and the way that Sally Jupiter in her advanced age talked about how even the ugly parts start to look better.
Yeah.
To me, the way that was portrayed and shot was so exceptionally well done. And one thing for me, a detail, was how Adrian Veidt starts to speak with a little bit of German accent in private. Yeah. Publicly, very smooth, very composed, very American. But when he's away from people, that German accent starts to kick in.
And I thought
it was very well
great
done.
because it was kind of like alluding to the whole idea of, like kind of subtly saying like this guy's becoming a Nazi. He's doing,
it led you to that. It led you to that.
Yeah.
It really did. And Matthew Good, who plays Ozymandias, was perfect for that role. Yeah. When he starts to explain, he's like, I'm not a comic book villain where I explain everything and you have a chance to stop me. He goes, I did this like 30 minutes ago. And the fact that, it was really well done. The war room scene with Nixon and the generals, it was infuriating, which is what it needed. Where the generals like, oh, not so bad that we're going to lose like half of America, right? It was infuriating, but I get the purist who says, well, no, it has to be a squid. Yeah. That would not have translated for the general audience. It would not.
They would not have got it.
No. Instead it's Dr. Manhattan has been pissed off to a point of no return, and he nukes half the planet.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
I can believe it.
I'm down with that. I watched that because people forget when he was on that news show, and the tension, the building. It's almost like a somebody grating on a chalkboard or a violin, a high note. The way that tension builds because it keeps building and building, and you can see him where he stands up and he's like, "Just leave me alone, just leave me alone," and he pops and vanishes.
Yep.
At that point, everything is an avalanche from there, and I think the purists ignore that moment, or they're just so locked into they want their giant squid that they can whatever. But I'm with you on your hill to die on with Watchmen.
Excited for the HBO series.
Now that's another discussion.
We'll see.
It's HBO, Westworld, and Game of Thrones for me. I will bow to anything HBO puts out. That's just me.
Right.
At the moment, they can prove me wrong.
Do you think a lot of the problems that we have with a lot of the comic book movies, as far as the DC versus Marvel, is the nostalgia that people want to see a direct translation of what they saw in the comic on the screen? Which here's the argument. I watched the new trailer for Dark Phoenix.
Oh, God.
Those suits look ridiculous to me. The costumes look ridiculous. But in X-Men, they made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense. They actually served a purpose, and you understood why they were wearing them.
Yeah.
You understood. But sometimes I think that's where things get lost in the translation, going from, book to screen. In a book, Luke Cage looks ridiculous, but on TV show he looked great. So sometimes I think that's one of the other bad things with the whole argument of DC versus Marvel. People want to see Wolverine would look terrible in that costume on screen. I don't care how they did it.
Yeah.
That would have been bad.
Yeah, he would never look good in that.
Like a Michigan fan.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that is happening is we as comic book fans and comic book movie fans, because we now have to start making that
its own thing.
Yeah. We have to start separating the two. Is that we demand a better product now, and that margin for error for studios has really shrank to a level that's almost unsustainable. Where what's happening with the Marvel universe, everyone's like, oh, it's been done perfectly. Then we forget about Thor 2, and we're like, oh my god, Thor 2 is a little painful.
Dark World, that's right.
Yeah. So the Dark World was like, okay, but we demand so much from our product, and then you have the 90s kids who came up watching X-Men on Saturday morning, and it was such a game changer for us that we're trying to push that onto the kids now and saying, oh, but you don't understand, which is what we talked about at for the step one, which is it's okay to be a ground zero comic book fan. It's okay to be a ground zero nerd in general, where you can form your own opinions outside of what this mass hysteria that's developing. But I think that's what's happening is that Captain America, right? And when that uniform, the classic uniform with the wings, no, that doesn't work. So we have to find things that do work,
right?
And we're there now. Yeah, exactly.
There's an app for that.
Exactly. And so I think Marvel has figured that out, and I think that Warner Brothers has not.
Yeah. Well, I know. Going back to speaking of Warner Brothers and theories, I really do. I think we mentioned this off camera. One of my favorite theories about where DC could be going is that Joker was actually one of the Robins that and that's why. What's his name's character or what am I going? Jared Leto. Jared Leto's role was so different than what we're expecting. Like you were talking about, like letting those small things that where we can tie it into a new segment of the comics, because that's I think the Killing Joke that was in the 90s too, but like a lot of these transformations happen like Batman Beyond on the return of the Joker and all that.
Which is incredible. If you are just getting into this whole thing, they had a series where they took it away from Bruce Wayne and they moved on to
Terry McGinnis.
Yeah, Terry McGinnis, who becomes the new Batman in an advanced future with advanced technology. Yep. He has to take on advanced enemies, and then one day the Joker reappears.
Yep.
And that is, give Warner Brothers as much grief as you want on the cinematic side. The animated side is amazing.
Always.
Yep.
Always.
So check that out if you haven't. If you're new to this whole thing, check out the DC animated universe. It's All-Star Superman, Doom.
Yeah. Reign of Superman just came out. That's really good.
Yeah. See, I haven't seen that yet.
So Killing Joke really you can avoid. I think you can avoid that one.
That's the one, but
the gold standard, my hill to die on, is Mask of the Phantasm.
Yes.
Yeah. Mind-bending.
Doom Patrol also was filming, and I was a on-set, not set medic, but in an ambulance in the background, but that looked fun as hell.
Really?
Too, man.
Yeah. Doom Patrol was filmed here in Atlanta. That's right. Yeah. And that's another good thing about us being here in Atlanta. Like as we're doing this, like we're first on the ground for a lot of this stuff. Our friends are being recruited for extra scenes, like all these castings that are going on here in Atlanta. Like I think this is the perfect time to be getting into entertainment. And you not entertainment, into comics and into this long format with it, because like Nick said, man, like I think that just even getting more people interested at that base level, like, hey, you just like movies, great, you're gonna love this piece of cinema. But you want more, here's your entire backstory of cataloging, because like people now aren't gonna go read the golden age of comics from the 50s and 60s. Like,
actually that stuff is hard to read now.
It is
the dialogue is so so
dated metaphor for racism.
You gotta
X-Men.
Yeah, it's so simple. Well, because like, and this is, pay attention where I'm going with this, like straight dick in the 50s meant a serious conversation.
Yep.
So you'll read a comic and it's like, I'm about to give you some straight dick right now. And it's like, wait a minute. You know,
whoa.
Hey. Yeah. You know, so it's like,
hey.
Yeah. You know, and it's a lot of things that.
Hashtag straight
dick. Like. It's a lot of things that, you know, just over time.
This segment's sponsored by Audio Law. All of your audio needs.
No, but seriously, I mean, like, you kind of have to have things written for the time now.
Yeah, it is.
No, because even I picked up one, you know, those big graphic novels that they, like, X-Men Classic. It picked up from X-Men, like, 98 all the way to, like, 150 or something like that. I picked that up. Some of that stuff was a little hard to read. As a kid, I loved it. I mean, when I was little, I loved it. Now I'm reading it like, Jesus, you know, this wasn't as good as I thought it was. You know, and it's just a nostalgia factor that makes you love it. Yeah. Because like I'm a big Transformers fan. Yeah. And my daughter loved Bumblebee. She thought it was a great. She thinks that, and she was like, "Hey, Dad, let's watch your Transformers. Let's watch that."
Yeah.
It was on for like 5 minutes, and she was disgusted. She was like, "Jesus Christ, how did he turn 35 feet? Where does his weight go? How does he doing that?
Yeah,
he can't be a gun and be 35 feet tall." I mean, she was like livid.
Thank
watching
you.
This.
Yeah.
You know
the laws of physics.
Exactly.
Stuff that kids pay attention to now.
Yeah, you know, like back in the day, I didn't care when I was a little kid. They were aliens. They were aliens. We didn't understand the technology. That's how he could get that big.
Isn't that such a great metaphor for what's happening in the world right now, though? Where Megatron went from being like 35 feet tall down to like a pistol that a human could wield, and we were just like, "That's okay, don't worry about it." And kids are like today are like, No, there's something very wrong with this. So kids, keep looking at that stuff, huh? Keep looking at that.
You know what it was? It was Soundwave, because the guy picked up the tape
boombox. Yeah.
She was like, "How is he able to pick him up?
Soundwave.
He's got to be 200-300 tons.
Yeah.
How does she do? He's like, oh, this is trash. Get this out of
here. Yeah, exactly.
So it's better like if they read the new stuff and get into it.
But one thing that I have to give credit to from Marvel is universe building. Universe building is such an underappreciated thing. Ridley Scott tried to go back and universe build with the Alien universe, and it was rejected with Prometheus because people forgot that it was a universe building vehicle and not just an Alien movie, and it fell apart. You know, but
isn't Blade Runner supposed to be part of that too somehow?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is supposed to. If you allegedly. Blade Runner is supposed to be a part of the Alien universe. There have been numerous YouTube videos where that has been alluded to, but I don't subscribe to it.
Okay.
I stick to the Alien movies as is in general, but I do believe that the universe building that takes place with Marvel is where Warner Brothers went wrong.
Yeah.
To me, that's the
with DC.
Yeah, because I can't. I say Warner Brothers because I refuse to put it on DC.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers allowed people counting money to get involved in the creative process, and it screwed everything up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Marvel came in and said, "We have a plan. We will execute this plan exactly as it's laid out." And Disney said, "We are going to make a fortune."
Yeah.
And they let it ride. Yeah. Because they understood the role that the movies play. Warner Brothers didn't have that. And I want Fox to drop everything, stay out of it. If you want to produce more Daredevil, have at it. I don't care. Not Daredevil. If you want to produce like Deadpool, fine. Leave that. You can do all the Deadpool you want, do all the cameos you want. You've earned it. Everything else, Sony, stay out of Spider-Man. I don't want you anywhere near it. Yeah. Let Marvel do what they do.
Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. I will say on the comics, they won an Oscar over it. You know, like they well deserved by far. Like I remember leaving Into the Spider-Verse and being like, "Oh, I'm a little kid again." Yeah. Like that. Yeah. The animation is, and like they patented an entire animation format for that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's like it's all animated and they hand draw every frame all over again. Like. What? Like,
but there's better casting now. Look at the voice cast for Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. I mean, look at the casting that takes place now. That's the difference between so many of these movies that are successful and so many that are failures is the casting. Yeah. You know, like let's go back to Blade, the original Blade. Wesley Snipes was perfect as Blade. I wanted Jamie Foxx to pick that up. Look, after watching that movie, everybody wanted to be Wesley Snipes.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was very, quick-witted.
Here's a question I have. Why is Blade never mentioned when they say the beginning of the comic book boom? He was the...
I have an idea.